At this point here, you remember when we were taking the raw material out of the intake runner on the flange on the 1205 gasket. That consisted of cutting my little trenches that I call them with different various burrs, and then taking a big meat cutter like this one right here and trying to pull it in. Well, this can be a critical area here because your push rod goes right here. And it's only yay thick, so, you know, you got to really watch it. I've done enough of these where I've come up with a measurement that I know safely goes. And, you know, it depends on the stage of porting, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And on 4, you want to push this pretty hard because this sets the connection from the intake manifold to the port. It's going to pull that moving column of air through here. So if you look at a stock head, which is almost all the way over here, then look at the fact that I pull this whole thing out of the way. It's interesting to note that the dimension here on the flange and here is over 350 thousandths bigger than the measurement where it's called the pinch point, which is the push rod bulge to the connecting adjacent wall. This is what we use to try to sight this in, and I got a depth that I set this to, but basically when you try to get a line, you go up and down like this right here. And I'm going to get you a shot and get you in a little closer. But this gets the evenness of the wall because when you got this here, you can see daylight coming through where I've got the light in there. Okay, so you look at this, and then you're looking at this distance right here as you go up. This tells you what spot to take the cutter, like right here might be a little bit smaller. So you take the cutter in that one spot and gnaw a little bit right there, and then come back and forth and check, and then when you're finally done, you do some quick rolls back and forth and blend it. But anyway, the point is, you can make, and I had some, I'm going to have to remake them, they've been lost over the years. I'm getting where I'm doing so many of these. I actually had a template that used the bolt holes on the intake port, and it would shoe, like fitting your foot in a shoe, and you would just keep removing meat and placing it till finally it went boom and fit down in there and was exactly the thickness. I made it out of wood. I've made them out of plastic. Any kind, if you're doing a bunch of a specific head, you can do that. But anyway, the point of it all is to show you that even the 1204, which is the blue stripe gasket, as I've mentioned, is the smallest one, you still can't get this dimension here, which is 900, about 900, almost an inch in right in here. You still can't get it to come that wide to a factory gasket. So why bother? Okay, the only reason that you use a 1250, it gives you a little bit more roof, but because the ports are in such awful geometric shape with areas and corners being exposed like right here and right here, the 1205 goes big enough to let you square it out and straighten it, so that you make a smoother transition when you're coming from the intake manifold into the port. Now let's zoom on down in there and let's see a little closer. Okay, I'm biased some, I'm pointing more toward this port. I'm trying to give you a better view, so keep that in mind. This is the flange. This is about an inch in, almost 900. So somewhere around 900 to an inch is going to be the apex of the corner of the farthest bend. And you use it as the go, no go gauge, which I'll show you. I take my snap that I'm using. This is just a quick adjust all. I like my little fixtures, but those are kind of porting tricks, and you know, I keep some of this to myself. Anybody can buy these and they'll do, but a fixed template is the best. Remember what I told you, right here is the almost the inch in. Well, see, you're using it back and forth like that. Okay, notice how I'm not hitting anywhere, and this is a pretty big measurement compared to stock, and that's how I keep the consistency. Always remember that one wall you can't touch if you're going to move the other wall. It's just how it is. If you go in there and start porting all of it, you might be off this side or this side. So if you're porting this wall, you leave this one undone until that wall is done. Then you use this wall to center off of to move that wall. And same goes from the floor to the roof. Okay, but anyway, this thing's opened up quite a bit. It's really wide considering that it's an 882 head. So this is how I get my 250 CFM. This is one of the main tricks. Also, while we're at it, there's 3 measuring points. When we talk money, such as stage 1, 2, 3, and 4, what it's about is pickup points. Where am I measuring at? Because you start looking like at the map that I had on the drawing board. Look at how many pickup points. Each line is a point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 points. There is no way with the kind of money that I charge for this I can do that. So what do? I give, for the stage 3.5, I give 3 points of measurement that I shoot for consistency. On a stage 4, I actually go to 4 points. This measurement here at 900 in is 1. This measurement right here at 3,300 in is 1. The entrance right here or at 0.900 in is a measuring point. Those are your main 3. The other point that I give in measuring, okay, that's up and down, is I'll give a width. I give the width here on the push rod. That's one of the things that separates. So this is length. The other's width. I'm watching here and here on this and here, but I go in there on the width and then I play it a little bit, get it relatively close in the bowl on the width. So a stage 4 gets between 4 and 5 points, a stage 3.53. A stage 3 gets 1 point, the bowls, and then stage 2 and below get no measuring. It's totally shot off of the hip, so to speak. So anyway, I just wanted to show you them points, and then I'll show you in the head real quick. Okay, these are my measuring points on this head I'm paying the most attention to. Actually, it's closer to 3 or 4. I'm doing a touch and go thing. But this width is a measuring point right here at 1 inch in. I also go up and down. There's a second point at 900 in. Then I go in here, look at where I'm putting this at. Right there at the apex of the short turn. I'm wanting to see how much I'm moving the roof or how much I'm moving the floor. So there's a point. You can see it right here on this one too. There's a big old bump on this thing. It's a casting flash. It's gone now. I ate that away a while back when I was raising the roof. But those are the 2 points. When I flip the head around in a minute, you'll see the bowl where I'm hitting on that. So we got 1, 2, 3, and then the bowl is 4. That's what you're paying for. Them points I make as consistent, within reason of time and money that I can spend on it. Inconsistency in terms of the port and getting the material removed close to the same and on an area here is very critical. I put up there, and I think you can see the daylight. You'll see, or the back of the bowl, the shiny where the fluorescent light's coming. I'm watching. Look how I follow this down as I go with my scribe. I'm looking at this gap, and I think you can see it in there pretty good. There's an air gap, no pun intended, Elder Brock, between this gauge and this here. I usually get it close, and I can even, if I want to get real close on some of the stuff, I go in here, unlock it, expand and get it a little bit tighter, and that tells me where I'm at. See, it's just barely going. Man, that's really close right there. I've got it almost the same all the way from the top to the bottom. Now, the floor is going to have a radius in it and the corners, so it's hard to make that exact because I do want fillet material in there. Okay, enough on that for now. Forgot. Look at the comparison. Look how this port, it won't even go 500 in. It's hanging. On this port, see how I'm going all the way through? Now on this port here, look how bad it's hanging up. Okay, that's the difference. This one I moved some material, but I haven't removed a lot to pull it over to blend the wall. I just wanted to show that movement, that measurement right there. So see, that's how you check it, and you keep going till you do it. Alright, and right now I'm at a pretty good measurement. I'm not far away. If I put my sonic checker in here when I'm done, I'd like to see in the push rod area, because there's no water pressure going against it, I can go pretty thin here. I can go down to about 50 thousandths wall thickness if I want, without having to worry about anything, because it's just oil that's draining back down on the head. There is no water pressure right here. The water don't get going pressure against the port till here and around that corner in the back side of the bowl. All right, looking good, Marty and Christy.